What is up, Sauce Nation? It is your boy Hector back with another Dynamo video. Have a special guest. We're going to see him more often in some Dynamo videos, maybe sometimes running it by himself. And that is the toxic one, throwing some toxicity into the Dynamo, which we might need some toxicity into this Dynamo. So, properly introduce yourself into the soccer sphere.
What's going on, Houston Dynamo family? It's Toxic City Tinny, and this is your first introduction to me, or it may not be, but I'm definitely going to bring an honest opinion to this. You may not like me. You will probably learn to hate me a lot before we start to learn to love each other, but I am definitely going to chop it up with you in the comment section every time I got something to say about this Houston Dynamo team, but they do get my kinder side with this start out of the season.
Yeah, so this video is going to be our expectations from the 2022 season, which, to be honest, there's only one way to go at this point if you're the Dynamo, especially after last season finishing in last place in the Western Conference, and that's up. But we'll definitely talk about our expectations with this season. So before we get going with this video, make sure you guys like, subscribe, click on that notification bell, follow us on social media at SauceSportsHCX on Instagram and Twitter, and of course Sauce Sports on Facebook and TikTok. And of course, if you guys want to join the Discord, you've heard us talk about it. You're gonna see Honcho do some TikTok dances over there. If you guys want, you've heard us talk about the Discord and hear us preach about this Discord. Well, if you guys want to go into the Discord, well, you gotta join Patreon, man. That's all you gotta do. So pretty simple. It's fun. You'll argue with Rio, and you'll argue with Rio, and you'll argue with Rio some more. You're going to argue with Rio. That's all I'm saying. It's really all it's going to be.
If you're asking yourself who is Rio, get to the Discord. Join the Patreon and get to the Discord.
There you go. There you go. All right, man. So the 2022 MLS season is coming. It's near and dear. And like I said, the Dynamo had a really bad season last year. They fired Tab Ramos. They got rid of Matt Jordan, which thank God. Terrible GM. Probably, I can honestly say, probably the worst GM in Houston sports history. And that's saying a lot because the Texans are pretty close. But it was a collective, whereas this guy single-handedly brought this team down to the shithole that they are right now. Now we got new ownership. Dynamo legend Pat Onstan taking over as general manager. As a matter of fact, hired the Dynamo's first ever sporting director, and now have hired Paulo Nagamura to be the future of this Dynamo organization. I don't really know too much about what the Dynamo have expected with Paulo Nagamura, but if this is who they believe is going to be their guy to put the Dynamo back on track, I've heard some of the things that he's been saying, and it's all about accountability, bringing back that grind with this team, bring back some hustle into this team. So if he's preaching this stuff, I'm all for it, at least for right now. And the thing that I'm going to say kind of also added on to the season was the Dynamo's first ever large transfer in the club's history, and that is getting Sebastian Ferreira, the Paraguayan. It's a big story that's come into the season. There's some rumors rumbling right now that the Dynamo are looking to bring in Hector Herrera, Mexican international, over at Atletico Madrid. The Dynamo are looking to spend. It looks like Ted Siegel, since he came into this team, he wants to put money in this organization, but not only is he putting his money in it, he's also going to put Fubo TV's money into it as well. So, I mean, the man's making his money work for him. It's getting you excited, but we know this team isn't ready to win, especially if you looked at that preseason. So, Tinny, what are your expectations for the Dynamo this season?
My expectations is for it to be an ugly season. It doesn't even have to be pretty, Now, if you can get it going in a direction where it kind of looks pretty, but at the end of the day, it's still like putting makeup on a whore. You get what you get. And I'm sorry to compare these guys to that, but, it's not a real comparison to them. We know that the guys we have on this team right now are not 100% of the plans of the future. We want to get better at positions, and there's a lot of positions that they can get better at. And even me being a newbie, I know that. And if you look at these recent preseason games, you look at what happened yesterday, you look at the game that happened last week, or not even last week, but a couple of days ahead of that, we're getting outscored. Our opponents scored 6, we scored 1. So, there's a lot of things that they have to work on. And seeing as the season is starting on Sunday, and it's going to be against Salt Lake, I don't see them taking it all away. I don't see them making big splashes as far as wins and competing in this league. But I do see them having the opportunity to build going forward. I mean, I don't see any reason why they should be scared of retooling and getting better. And like you said, they're looking to make a bid on that guy Herrera. And I went and looked him up. That guy is a beast in the middle and midfielder, man. If you're not familiar with soccer, midfielders, man, from the little I know, you got to have some attitude there. You got to have some gumption. You got to go out there and fight and let them know that they're going to have to show up to your house and beat you. When you walk in on their field, they got to beat you. It's not the other way around. You got to have that attitude. And I think an old warrior like that is going to bring it in because he fights for that ball and he moves it up. And he's always thinking teammate. He's always trying to get that ball passed to somebody and make a play, whether it's bringing it back or pushing it forward.
Yeah, it's a really good one. My expectation is to figure out what the hell the Dynamo's identity is going to be. If you look back at the years of when they were, I'm not even talking about the championship seasons. I mean, for a good chunk of the while, the Dynamo have always been a competitive team in the playoffs. Actually, ironically enough, have been the most successful team in the playoffs. Have one of the best records in MLS history, as a matter of fact, in the playoffs. Even the times that they didn't look that good, they have made pretty deep runs when they made it to the playoffs. And it's always been this blue collar, grinded out mentality that the Dynamo have always had, going back to those years with Brad Davis, Dwayne De Rosario, Brian Ching. And since then, mainly because of Matt Jordan, that identity has completely disappeared. So the big thing is that the big task for Paulo Nagamura is going to be to bring back some mentality, whether it is that dog mentality that Dynamo had over in the previous years. And I mean, if you go and get yourself a Hector Herrera, I think that dog mentality is what they're looking at, bringing back that grind from the Dynamo. So I think that, for one, I think the objective for this season is to find the Dynamo's identity, pure and simple. I'm not expecting the Dynamo to win every single game this season. I don't expect them to be in playoff contention. I think just improving themselves. I mean, like I said, the bar is pretty low. You finished in last place last season. You struggled to win on the road. You just struggled to win, period. But I think the goal right now is just figure out our identity. And if you win some games on the way of that, that's cool. But right now, it's to figure out the identity of this team, what this team necessarily needs. And I mean, let's face it, the team isn't perfect yet. The one thing that they haven't been able to do is score goals. They got themselves a goal scorer. Now it's time to figure out how you're going to feed that goal scorer. And so that's also the big issue right now with Dynamo, is that needs to be addressed as well. Defensively, it's not looking good if you give up 6 goals more than you're scoring. So there needs to be some fixes as well. In my opinion, everyone in this team right now is easily replaceable. And it's also up to those guys that are in the youth system, how bad they want it. And if they get that opportunity, are they going to make sure that player is never coming back on the field once they're back in there? So I think mentality is going to be the big thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, you made a really good point because they just signed four guys from the Academy League, our Academy group, and you got 4 young guys that are coming in. I expect to see a revolving door of talent. You got to be testing things. You can't settle on guys who have already shown you what their ceiling is, or at least with your team what their ceiling is. So it's not a problem right now as a young team, or not even a young team, but a young front office, a young coach coming in. You got the opportunity to really move pieces around, figure out, like you said, what you're good at. Are we going to get monstrous on offense? Are we going to take a bunch of shots? I wouldn't mind to know if we're taking 10 shots and maybe we miss all 10, but we're shooting at the goal. We're creating that pressure. We're making them feel uneasy on the other side of the team, or on the other side of the field. And I mean, it's the same thing with the defense. Do we want to get mean on defense? Because, I mean, yesterday's game, you had us score a goal on ourselves. Now, if you're new to soccer, you're probably wondering, how the fuck does that happen? Well, I mean, it's all about positioning. You get yourself in the wrong spot, somebody bounces the ball off you and it goes in. I mean, it's a fucked up situation, and it's hard to fucking realize that that's a very real possibility that you can even score against yourself But I mean, soccer is a different animal. And if you're going to get staunch on defense, you got to have your positioning right. You can't put yourself in a situation that you're going to fuck over your goalie. And on the defensive side of it, you got to get that mentality right. It's your house. When you walk into their house, it's your house. Everywhere is your house. Be mean. Make them fight for every goal. I mean, we shouldn't be seeing 2 games, 6 points against us. That's crazy right there, especially at this level. I know a lot of people hate on MLS, and, you know, it's not the most popular thing throughout the world, and especially with soccer fans here in the States. But, I mean, it's time we start growing for something, man. We're the fucking U.S. I mean, we kick ass at everything. At least our women here kick ass at soccer. Our U.S. women's national team is awesome. And, I mean, if you haven't checked out the women's MLS, that shit right there goes off. I've been to a few games. I love watching them play. But we're talking about the Dynamo right now, so I want to see that, man. Give me a reason to get fired up for you. Because right now, it's not just the rebirth of the Dynamo, it's the rebirth of the fan base. Let's get into this. Let's light a fire under our own asses to give them something to play for.
Yeah, it's true. I think a more accountability from the fans definitely need to come in as well. So the fans have done, especially the Dynamo Fans for Change group, they've done a really good job of getting their voices be heard. Hey, things have changed. You know, since then, there has been some changes. Obviously, like I said before, we got a new owner, Ted Siegel. Pat Onstad became the general manager, which is also something that's been hurting the Dynamo for a while. Is they've had this misconnection with the former Dynamo players. And now it's kind of coming back since Ted Siegel has taken over. So I think more and more we can get some old heads come here, share their experience with these young players, and these players get that experience shared to them and remember what it's like, what it takes to win the MLS Cup. I think that can really be a change. And I mean, also these young players, when they get their opportunities, and weirdly enough, I'm going to look at that first pick that Dynamo had in the MLS draft, Thor. Because that guy, I mean, aside from Hector Herrera, who has some dog in him, Thor has some dog in him. If you guys didn't know, you guys need to check out that highlight from the Duke UCLA game. Was it Duke UCLA? I know he plays for Duke. But anyways, he ended up chirping up the goalkeeper, pisses off, and ends up getting a player ejected because they're obviously defending his guy. But Thor's got some little shit talking him, and I like that. So I'll be excited to see if he gets a chance to be on the field, which is a possibility because we don't know who necessarily is going to be our set lineup. Don't be surprised if our starting lineup on day one isn't the same starting lineup at the end of the season, because I think at this point it's just figuring out what exactly this Dynamo team is, and then we'll find who really is our guys and who we're going to build from. So I mean, that's also to be excited about. But right now is just the behind the scenes. What's happening right now around the Dynamo has looked really good and makes you feel pretty promising. But obviously, we're not going to know till we see it on the field. But as of right now, I'm excited for what the Dynamo have done so far.
Mm-hmm. And if I'm going to say something, honestly, if I could get into the ears of everybody that makes decisions out there at PNC, I would say this, man, make this team more accessible for us as fans. Because I go look at some of these preseason games and it's blacked out in my area. And we can't control that. That's contracts and things like that. I get that. But when I go look at the game, I want to be able to see some stats. Now, I'm not a stats sexual, so don't go pointing your finger at me and telling me, oh, the numbers get this guy hard. No. No, I would like to know who's taking shots. How many shots have we taken? What happened on defense? How many shots were taken against us? How many were allowed? How many were defended? Things like that. It's cool because you can actually read the game a little bit that way. So I would say, Houston Dynamo front office, Houston Dynamo GM, make the team a little bit more accessible for us fans who don't live in downtown Houston, who don't live, every day earshot away from the stadium, or within those viewable areas. Let us try to learn about the team. Let us see about our team. Because at the end of the day, this is going to be our team. We share this responsibility. And I would also tell the guys in the front office, hey, don't be stagnant. We're here with y'all. We all got to grow in this. If we got to cut a guy loose, we got to cut a guy loose. You got to make a few more bids, go make some few more bids. Get some people in there. And like you said, man, Thor, I saw the highlight video, and I mean, that looked cool. And I'm not going to lie. How cool would it be to root for a guy named Thor? I mean, come on. What's a cooler name than Thor? I mean, we had Savage in here, and we also have that in it on the Houston Texans side. But we get Thor, fucking give everybody a complimentary hammer. Okay, let's go.
hammer you away at PNC Stadium. I'm all for it. I'll be all for it for sure. But yeah, man. So I think our expectations right now is we're gonna see how this team's gonna look. We know it's not gonna. This isn't an MLS Cup champion just yet. It's gonna take some time, but there's a lot to be excited for, especially if that Hector Herrera sign does happen. I think that's gonna be massive, just because it's a proven player. He knows what he's doing. He's definitely a guy that I think a lot of guys will build with him, because I think he has so much knowledge and experience to share with these young players that he's probably like the best person for that midfield. And then I think personally for me, the fact that he's Mexican is huge, because there's one thing I know about Mexican national team fans is that they flock. And so PNC Stadium will be full if Hector Herrera does show up, does end up becoming a Houston Dynamo player. He's gonna be massive. I like the way the guy plays. Well, when he's playing against my teams, I'm usually not happy with it. But when I see him play, I know what kind of quality he brings. And everyone's like, "Oh my God, he's gonna be 32." Look, man, he's playing right now at a really top level. Even with his age, this isn't a retirement league move. This guy's a dog, and we need a dog in this team. And I think Pat Onston is completely right about that one. So I think the Dynamo are set to be in a good situation if everything falls in line. And I think that at least this season is going to probably not be the easy one to watch, but it's going to get you ready for what's going to come. And I think if anyone wants to hop on the Dynamo bandwagon, the time is now before they start winning championships. I know you guys missed out on the Astros bandwagon. So, I mean, if you guys want something kind of similar to it, this is the time.
Hector's telling you the truth right now. Like, if they fall flat on their face, this is the perfect time too, because hey, you get to call them out. You be like, "Hey, I jumped on the train and we need to get this going in the right direction. We can't be sitting still." And like you're saying with Herrera, what does it matter if he's going to be 32? You got an old dog. You got a warrior. You got a guy that goes out there and battles. That's what you need. It's all about attitude, and it's all about setting the bar. And you get a guy like that who comes in here and sets the bar, then you get this young guy, whoever he may be, that comes on the team. He sees that example, and he learns to live by that example, and he learns to play by that example. And that's where you get a team leader. And that's what you're gonna see out of this. Every team needs leaders. Every team needs guys that they fall behind and get going. Yeah, you got your coaches that make that difference. But at the end of the day, if you ain't got a Ray Lewis, if you ain't got a Brian Cushing, a name familiar for you, Houston fans, if you don't have somebody that you get behind and you can believe in, then you don't really have a cohesive team. You got little cliques that start to form. And I'm not saying that this is what the Dynamo are doing, so don't come at my throat in the damn comment section about this. But what I'm saying is, you get a guy with attitude, you get a guy with presence, and he starts to teach the other guys that play with attitude, start to have a presence on the field. You want to be feared when you go out there and compete. You do not want to be fearing other people.
Yeah, especially when you got a goon like Hector Herrera. So hopefully the Dynamo will get that deal done. It seems that both parties are really happy with the possibility of that offer to happen. So hopefully, you'll see us making another video about Hector Herrera coming over to the Dynamo, which I'll be very excited if that does end up happening. But so our expectations are pretty straightforward, man. We're gonna see what the season gives us. If it's great. If it's not, as long as it's not too bad, we won't call them out too badly. But we kind of have our realistic expectations with this team. So go into the comments, man. What are your exact expectations of the Houston Dynamo? I'm sure someone's going to say MLS Cup champions. I don't know why, but I think someone's going to say it. But, go ahead and tell us your expectations. Make sure you guys like this video. Subscribe to Soft Sports if you haven't already. Click on that notification bell. Tuesdays, man, fox26.com. Make sure you guys are there for that. And, of course, follow us on social media. If you guys want to join the Discord, well, sign up through Patreon. It's the only way to do it. Obviously, this is a soccer video, so I'm going to go ahead and plug my podcast, Insert Name FC. I talk about all soccer, not just MLS. But, if you guys think that I have some good discussions with soccer, go ahead and check that out. We're part of Belly Up Sports, which I'm really grateful for Belly Up, because not only did they sign me on to their network, but they allow me to be still doing my thing here with Soft Sports, which I greatly appreciate them for that. So shout out to them. So that's all I really got on my end. But Tinny, what do you got to say for the people?
Man, I'm really excited to be a part of the Dynamo family. I'm really so excited to be a part of soccer nation, soccer US nation, because we got to start turning things around. I'm tired of all this hate that I see from these motherfuckers out here in the streets. I never knew there was so much disrespect for US soccer, although it is warranted. But we're going to change their minds. We're going to start to rep. We're going to start to get fired up about this shit. And we're going to start to bring some new energy into this shit.
Hey, man, there's a lot of Texas guys right now playing for the U.S. men's national team. So, I'm just going to point that out there. but yeah, man, with all that being said, man, chucking up a deuce. Y'all stay saucy.
Perfect.